Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Redmen TV and your fan reaction show after Liverpool were beaten at Craven Cottage by Fulham 3-2. And I think you'd be hard-pressed to say not deservingly so because we were pretty poor. Moments aside, I thought it was a really disappointing performance for Liverpool. This is where we talk about it. This is where we try and make sense of what we just watched. Bitterly disappointing. Get it a bit of context. First away defeat in the league this season. First defeat in 26. Still top of the league, still 11 points clear, 8 games to go. So definite reasons and causes for optimism and to be optimistic. But also, let's also have it right. Like, that was poor, properly poor. Alexis Macalister with a wonder strike, got a habit of doing that against Fulham. Got us on our way really after a bit of a dodgy, iffy start. And I guess the warning signs were there that we were capable of shooting ourselves in the foot from a defensive point of view when Konate inexplicably did what Konate did early on. But then, like I say, Macalister changed the whole narrative of the game for a few minutes. But after that, just the mistake-laden nature of the back line was horrible to watch. It was car crash telly at times. And credit to Fulham, they capitalised on it. Like, we kept gifting them opportunities, and yeah, they punished us. They punished us bad. It was, not good, not pretty. Let's talk about it. Aidan Dowd gets us underway. It says, have been shocking for ages. Possibly, I'm just going to deal with this super chat because I'm not sure whether it became this bit or the last bit. Hawks, hope you're well. At least we gave it a go from 10 minutes into the second half with the subs, but I don't get how Harvey isn't playing. Surely not giving the ball away, keeping him energy than Doms. Yeah, listen, I agree on the Harvey point, but and I think this in the subs definitely made an impact second half. They were more effective. They offered something that wasn't there to begin with, and I agree on the Harvey. Like I say, I think we've seen too little of Harvey Elliott this season, and you could argue at this point, with the way we're playing, we've seen too little of a lot of the fringe players of the squad because I think we're feeling the effects of it. It's showing in the performances that a lot of the main lads that Slot's relied upon this year just haven't got the same levels of performance. When we went 3-1 down today, I think the right was on the ball. Now, we rallied second half, and a lot of that was due to the subs, as you mentioned there, coming on and performing. I thought Connor Bradley was excellent when he came on as well. Louis Diaz added loads and scored, obviously. There was those two that combined for the goal, actually. But yeah, Elliot, he's just got that imagination, that invention, that deftness of touching the 10 that I think you require in there sometimes. Like, Dom Szoboszlai's got running power, he's got legs for days, and we've needed that in certain games this season. We needed that a lot of games this season. I'm not talking down on what Szoboszlai's done. I think he's had a really good year, but he doesn't seemingly have that vision, that eye for a pass. And Harvey Elliott, nearly comes off of 1 or 2 passes and actually hits the bar late on as well. So maybe it's time for a straight swap between those two. Tyron says, thanks for the super chat as well, buddy. This stuff about Robertson being scapegoated needs to stop. He's looking, I don't know, sorry, wasn't this game. The experienced fullback, he has to be replaced. Listen, we had a big chat about Robertson pre-match, and my views haven't really changed on it. And it was terrible timing to throw in an absolute all-timer of a stinker performance, which it was. I mean, the goal, the pass across the box is one thing. That's one of the first things you learn in footy. Don't play the ball square across your own area. And that's exactly what Andy Robertson did. And then he's the one who, his header falls into the path of Iwobi, and then he's the one it flicks off to go in. Like, it's a catalogue of errors, a horror 30 seconds for him. But I still maintain that he has a future in and around the squad, regardless. Alger Boy says, I'm so sick of this generation of players. 80s had 12-player squad, kick 6 buckets of crap out of each other, and they play 50 games a season. These so-called elite athletes with all the help are so fragile. Yeah, listen, former players would argue that to the hilt, like absolutely non-stop, and I speak to a lot of them. However, that's the way of the modern game right now, and we've seen it. It's not just a Liverpool thing, is it? It's not just a Liverpool-centric thing. It's across the board of world football. Like, players get tired. I don't know whether it's a scheduling thing, an intensity of the game thing. I don't know what it is, because a lot of the points that you make are absolutely valid and spot on. It was one substitute back in the day. Prior to that, it was none. And he did run on a squad of 12 to 13, maximum 14 players, and the pitches were terrible, and the sports science was nowhere near as advanced as it is. So I take your point entirely, but there's got to be a reason why every single footballer needs rotating these days, and it's just become the absolute norm across the board, as I say. Another super chat from Martin Lawrence, thank you, says, we have a lack of genuine pace. Yes. Like, preaching to the choir about that. Up front, so many of our attack fall short because of it. Also, I've now taken Canate out with the team right now. Yeah, I seen somebody a moment ago mentioned maybe Konsa for Canate, and I'm not in huge disagreement. The fact Canate came off early was quite telling, A, about his performance, and B, maybe his fitness levels, and maybe he's carrying something, who knows. But yeah, I think we might... It's difficult, isn't it? Because every time I thought we were in line for a change, Arneslot just reverts to type and picks the same 11 again. Like we had a conversation about Szoboszlai a minute ago, Ibu Konate as well. Both of them will probably start next week when we play West Ham, let's be honest. They just probably will. Just kind of the way it's been. Salah is immune from substitution. I think he has been taken off on occasion this year in surprising circumstances from time to time. Away in Paris was one of them. But I think more often than not, as a general rule of thumb, when it comes to someone like Salah. Now, he was nullified today massively. I think he had 2 touches inside the box, and one of them was that half-volleyed effort that was he got to hit the target, and if it's the target, he scores. But generally, when you keep, when you're chasing a goal, you keep Salah on the pitch. Your main goal threat, which is what he is, you don't really mess around with that, in my opinion, anyway. Lee says, Arne is too stubborn. Difficult to disagree with that as well, to be honest with you. I was shell-shocked he made no changes at half-time, like baffled by it, honestly. I think it was such a abysmal performance that it required sort of sweeping changes, sending a bit of a message, because he's done that a little bit recently. He's been so disappointed by what he's seen. He's let everybody know he's been disappointed by what he's seen, but today, for whatever reason, he sent the same lads back out there. And it took until the subs, really, for us to get an actual genuine reaction and a response. But anyway, somebody said Salah's been poor for weeks. Yeah, he has been poor. I'm not making excuses for him. He's been dreadful. But he's not the only one today, first off. But I'm one of the first to criticise Salah when he's not at it, and he's not been at it for ages. And today was another example of that. I thought most things that he did today, nothing really came off of him. There's a moment where he slips in Jota, and maybe Jota should have done better. It's a decent Bernardo save, but he's 1-on-1 with a keeper. And Jota is, that guy more often than not, the guy you want in those situations. But yeah, like I say, Salah, for some reason, Salah's closing out of seasons for a little while now have not been up to his usual standard. And this, as it looks like another one of them. Yeah, possibly. I mean, it's ended recently, hasn't it? Maybe this still having an effect. I don't know. I've never gone through it, so I couldn't possibly speak from experience on that, unfortunately. Salah has lost so much. To come back to the point on the pace in the front line, I think that's absolutely a valid argument to have. And I think that's something we desperately are crying out for this summer. We had big conversations pre-match about where we need to look and what we need to do. I think one of the first ports of call has to be getting some more pace into the attacking line, because even today, it was funny because I heard the commentator say something like, we countered on Fulham at one point and then they got numbers back and got organised. And he basically said, can they stop a trademark Liverpool counter? I'm not sure trademark Liverpool counter is right or accurate anymore, to be honest, because we've lost so much pace. I think back in the day when it was Mane, it was a prime Mo Salah, then you could say it and it would actually make sense. But I don't know anymore. I don't know. I think a lot of our counterattacks fizzle out into nothing and we allow teams to get set again more often than not. Timothy says, honestly, I'm not shocked because the first half historically stuck. Listen, Fulham have caused us huge problems. Like, they've taken points off us twice this season now. Even last year, they were a problem for us. Like, for some reason, Marco Silva appears to be our kryptonite, and I can't quite explain it. It was trademark under Klopp. Yeah, possibly. Slot refuses to say. Hopefully, I think Ali will be back next week. Kelleher doesn't cover himself in glory, certainly not for the third goal. Nobody does. Van Dijk's got to be so much stronger there. We'll do more individual player chat in the next show, obviously, because that's literally what it's designed for. But Van Dijk, for somebody who's 6'4" plus, built like a brick shit house, and strong as an ox, he doesn't half, I don't know. He takes real offence to people thinking they can touch him and challenge him. He just needs to be stronger and deal with it and realise that centre forward, certainly ones of Rodrigo Menezes' type, who like to put themselves about a little bit, they're going to want to physically challenge you. He feels like almost affronted by somebody thinking they can go shoulder to shoulder with him or leaning onto him, something that he's made a career of, being really smart with your body positions and just giving people a nudge at the right time. Defenders do that all the time. Don't be shocked when a striker or an attacker does it to you as well. Like, it's going to happen. And you've got to be strong. You've got to deal with credit to Menezes because the touch is excellent. The finish is decent. Goes for Keller's legs. You could probably do better. But Van Dijk, for me, there's just got to be more aggressive. He's got to be stronger. Like, it's piss poor. It really, really is piss poor. And he wasn't the only one. Like I say, the first goal comes off Curtis Jones' knee. Andy Robertson has an absolute horror show for the second. Canate nearly cost us a goal in the first minute, trying to do a fucking mad spin in his own area. It's a car crash across the back four. Each and every single one of them individually at moments is had problems, major mistakes in them. So I don't know, man. It wasn't fucking good, was it? Thank God we've got such a cushion at the top of the league. Anyway, back into the chat. Luke DeVed, I want to see Diaz down the middle now till the end of the season. Maca Jones and Grav in midfield. Yeah, the Diaz thing, possibly. But I thought Diaz was really good when he came on, actually. But maybe he was probably unfortunate not to start the game. In hindsight, you might look at that and maybe switch it around a little bit. But I love Cody Gakpo and I think he had a really good season. So I wasn't, toys out the pram at it. Rob Page, I said this a month ago, the squad was good enough, and you said it was ridiculous. What's your excuse now, Dan? Did I say it was ridiculous? I don't think I would have said that, actually, I'll be honest, because I think we've got a lot of quality in the squad. I don't think we've used it enough. That's been my problem all season long. Now, there's plenty to add to the squad as well. I've said that all year. Actually, in a very sick sense, what I've kind of been on a little bit of a limb about for a while now. I've said a lot. I think this Liverpool team, and I'm repeating myself, I'm definitely at risk of it, so forgive me if you heard me say it before. It's a very, very fucking good Liverpool team. Let's get out there early doors. And it's a Liverpool team that I think will still win the Premier League. And there's a lot of people panicking. I can see here, Carver. Possibly. I fucking hope not, but possibly, absolutely. That exists until it doesn't exist. But I think it's a very good Liverpool team. I don't think it's an excellent Liverpool team. I think it's a Liverpool team that would have struggled to keep pace with Liverpool teams of old under Jurgen Klopp and against the Man City team under Pep Guardiola that was firing all cylinders. There, I've said it. And I've said it for a while, actually. You could probably go back to old videos where I've said very similar. And nobody really got on board with it. Nobody really agreed with me. And I think a lot of it, I think this Liverpool team for a long time looked like a very good team to the stats nerds. And I don't mind stats. I lean into them at times, but more to sort of like back up opinions. I think to stats people, we looked exceptional because so many of the numbers were boss and XGs and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And we controlled games of football more and whatever. But I think actually when you just watch us play footy, I don't think we were quite it all the time in games. And I think now we're seeing a combination of that and the fact that this team have just ran out of a little bit of steam. Certainly the main bulk of 12, 13 players that he seems to rely upon week in, week out. And we're paying for it. We are paying for it. And this, because Jose, is kind of the point I was making, actually, because I actually think when you look at some of the players on the bench individually, everyone's been crying out for Chiesa to see more of him. Fitness might play a part as to why we haven't. Who knows? We're not privy to that information. Everyone knows Harvey Elliott can play. Like, we've seen him make impacts before. We've seen him play well from starter games before. Underused, in my opinion. Wataru Endo, I think there has definitely been times early on the season where we should have seen Endo earlier, which would have in turn given Gravenberch much of a rest, etc., etc., etc. Like, I don't think he's utilised the squad well enough. Now, that might be just the way he goes about his business and the way he operates, or it might be because he doesn't trust the rest of them to carry out the jobs. Who knows? We'll know in the fullness of time. The passion of John, so we can still get 94 points. We can, and I hope we do, because I actually think, and this comes back to my point a moment ago, I think we're gonna win the league. I'm certain of it. I think now it is about how sort of well we win the league, and a lot of people won't care, but I think that sets us up for the summer and how we're going to then try and defend the league. There is a lot of me, and today wasn't a good start to what I'm talking about here, by the way, because I think the Merseyside derby win and Arsenal dropping more points, albeit we didn't capitalise, means that it's definitely done, because it's another game week over, of course. I do want to see us win the league, like actually go out and win the league in a bit of style. Genuinely do. And like I say, today was the opposite of all of that. Douglas says, why was Diaz dropped? I don't think there is a reason to have dropped Luis Diaz, personally. I do think that's just straight swap rotation. Gakpo in, Diaz out. I don't think he's looked at Diaz's performance in midweek and gone, you didn't do this well enough, you weren't. There's none of that for me. Like I said, I just think it was a case of trying to get Gakpo a start. But did it work? I thought Gakpo was okay, to be honest with you. Probably avoids a lot of the criticism from that half. But yeah, there's no questioning Diaz was far and away the most likely to make something happen when he was on the pitch. And of course he did. The gap definitely won't be double digits by the end. No, possibly. Yeah, possibly. I don't think that's out the realms of possibility. Don't care how we're in the league as long as we get it done. Yeah, again, a lot of people will be absolutely with you on that sentiment, and I'm not going to be disappointed regardless of how it happens either. Don't get me wrong, but we've got 8 more games to watch now, and I want to enjoy them, and I want to celebrate them. If we'd have won the league on the back of today, damn squib, no, but there would have been a little bit like, oh yeah, you know what I mean? You want to do it in the best possible way. I've waited 3 years for this. I want to do it all in the ideal way, and we're not quite seeing that right now. Why can't we just see Chiesa in our strongest lineup? Hasn't started a game all year. Plymouth away, I think, is the only start he made. Like, it feels so far out of the realms of possibility right now that he's going to start starting games out of the blue. I just don't. And today, actually, defeat today means it's even less likely, because Chiesa's opportunities are going to come in 2 circumstances, really. A, chasing the game and desperation, where we're bringing him on for a fucking fullback late on because it's caution to the wind, let's just see what happens. Or B, because the league's wrapped up, done and dusted. And this has just pushed that back a little bit more, the fact that we didn't pick up any points at all, let alone one. I'm going to dive into the Twitter dead quickly and see how people have reacted over there before we start to wrap up. LFC Seattle says, the Reds failed to capitalise on Arsenal dropping 2 points by dropping all 3 points in only their second. I mean, is this some sort of AI-generated chat? Perspective is important here, but we'll have to address the atrocious defending and complacent mentality. Yeah, there was definitely a bit of complacency at the back. Just really sloppy, really casual, lethargic at times. Yeah, there's something of a difference, which was good to see onwards to West Ham. I mean, I'm not even going to justify or sort of, that needs ignoring, that second comment. I can't see Salah starting anymore. He's been fucking dog shit since February. He needs dropped. Whilst I tend to agree with the second bit, that first bit just isn't going to happen, let's be honest. After that pathetic first half, we could have drawn, won the game with more chances in the second half. Well-deserved win for Fulham nonetheless. This shouldn't cause any wet bed sheets in the grand scheme of things. We've lost a game, we are still 11 points clear. Yeah, echo that as well. And the first half was shocking, second half much better, but too far. But that's it, we gave ourselves a mountain to climb, didn't we? And we weren't quite able to do it. We did have chances though, we really did have chances. Just not good enough today. We definitely need to win our game next week against West Ham, otherwise the pressure. That's it really. I mean, I guess with the home games we've got coming, just win our home games and that'll get us over the line. So I'm not panicking yet. Not panicking, I'm so confident. Ryan Hatton says, I just don't understand why we haven't rotated today. The players look shattered. Creators have their own downfall. Yeah, 100% that. Onward and upwards next week and nothing changes. Yeah. Luke Sand says, the shove and Virgil van Dijk not given. 20 seconds later, Gakpo shoves the Fulham. Yeah, I think that's a fair comparison to make because they were very similar. But I don't think either of them are fouls for me. But I'm not going to blame the ref for that defeat today. I can't watch a Liverpool performance with so many individual errors and bad ones at that and come out of it blaming the referee. I'm sorry, it's just not in my nature. Andrew Shook says he'll definitely be shook after that. We need some rotation next match. Dom's legs are gone, needs a rest. Defence looks mentally tired today as well. Def says, what we've learned from today, Bradley is great, Elliott should be a start, and our defence needs big changes. Speaking of that, Bassey played, but yeah, Bassey was excellent actually for them again. Didn't give Mo Salah a sniff, really, did he? Do you know what, actually? It's another one of those games because you see the impact from the bench and you see how much marked the improvement was second half when we did make the changes. And can we honestly sit here and say that's a quality and a level uptick that we've made there? Or is it just freshness? Is it just energy? Is it just a little bit of desire? Because those lads that are coming on have all got points to prove. They haven't been there time and time again this season. They haven't been the ones running through brick walls to make sure we got over the line in games. And that's not to discredit the work that the starters have done, because they've done exceptionally well to get us in the position that we are. But all of a sudden, we're seeing them running out of legs, whilst the lads, Elliott, Chiesa, etc., Bradley even to a certain extent, have got so much left to give, and they're desperate to give it. So when they do come onto the pitch, we're seeing everything change. Like, Fulham had moments as the game wore on, because Liverpool again were going absolutely gung-ho, trying to get something from the game. But we were so much better. Everything we did was so much better. We even played like a fucking one-touch move around the box at one point that looked like proper total football vibes, and there's been nowhere near enough of that. Like, honestly, really, really underwhelming again. Tom Chiesa must start the next game. What I will say for Chiesa, in terms of like what he did today, things seem to happen when he's on the pitch. Let's put it like that. I don't think he has a really poor touch when it looks like a moment might be opening up for him, and it takes the moment away because it's too into the path of the defender. And obviously has that right-footed volley that he never really catches. There's the Elliott shot with his right foot that he never really catches either. But I mean, Chiesa could probably go with his left, to be honest. I don't know, man. Kwanzaa should start over Konate, call back to pre-season. It's funny, isn't it, how sort of perceptions change quickly on Jarell Kwanzaa. Like, he was hung out to dry early on this year, and all of a sudden we want him in for Ibu. I don't disagree with it, by the way. I think Ibu's having a bit of a dip in form. I don't think he was great against Everton either, to be fair. Just not physically standing up to the test. I do wonder if he's carrying something. Obviously, he was taken off at half-time during the international break for France, and then didn't feature at all in the second game. And since we've come back, he hasn't looked his usual self at all. So maybe there's something in that. It's feasible. Anyway, let's start to wrap up. Let's start to wrap up, shall we? I'm feeling the effects of that defeat. Let's put it that way. Yeah, shite. Right, sound. I will end this show. Because I feel like, much like Liverpool's defence today, I'm about to self-destruct as well. Liverpool beaten 3-2 by Fulham. That was the fan reaction part. Hang on, quick super chat before we go anywhere. Martin Lawrence, what have you got to say? Has our system with Gravenberch and our 6 been worked out by other teams? His performances have dropped, and it's not just about his energy. Perhaps. I guess that's the other thing that comes with not making much changes in personnel. Like, obviously we have shifted system once or twice and tactics once or twice, the Man City away game being sort of the glowing, shining example of that. We did it with Diaz going centrally a few times as well, which changed how we attack. There was a Spurs game away where we shifted it as well with Jones and Szoboszlai as the false nines, 10s, whatever you want to call them. But yeah, probably, because again, I think when you do name more or less the same team week in, week out, there's a lot of evidence and there's a bigger sample size for opposition managers to base how they approach it off. And if we're picking that set midfield, it becomes pretty evident how it's going to operate. And Gravenberch was a bit of an X factor early on the season because nobody could have envisaged him playing that role at the start of the campaign, let's be honest, not even us as Liverpool fans. So to see him do it must have been a complete surprise to teams we were facing, and they just couldn't get to grips with him. He plays it in such a way that's quite unique, really. Nobody could live with it. And I think second half of the season, particularly recently, he's not quite... In fact, no, let's fucking scrap that the first bit. He's not having anything like the same impact. And I think it might be a combination of the two. I think it's a little bit of teams have become wise to what he wants to do and how he wants to play it and how Liverpool generally go about our business. But also, I do think there's an energy problem in that entire squad, but certainly the midfield. I think there's a real energy problem in there. And it's not a huge shock to me, to be honest. Certainly not in Gravenberch's case. Let's just speak about him in isolation, because I've said this a million times, but barely gets going at all at Bayern Munich, has a complete season to forget, doesn't really get anything like a run of games. So that's 2 seasons ago. Year before that at Ajax, obviously one of the key players for them, so great. Comes in at Liverpool, bit part role, comes in and out, a couple of injuries along the way as well. So to go from that 2 seasons worth of lack of proper games to playing every single minute, basically, of every single week, there was always potentially going to come a bit of a drop off. And I think we've seen it in recent times. Anyway, that's that. Sounds. You got a chance to do a bit of a Van Dijk hammering if you want in a minute. Do join me for the player ranking show, which is where we do speak about more individual performances and just how shit they were for the most part. We do it from boss sound to your messing. I don't want to have to get rid of the boss category, but there's a little bit of me that's tempted as well. Maybe the subs can save the day on that front. But yeah, do come and join me for that, because this bit of the show is really important for you guys. The next bit's even more so, because otherwise it's just daft. I'll see you in a second.